Hi everyone, I'm Aaron with the Cleary company, and we're on to the next project, which today is painting the laundry room. So come along with me as we talk about the product, the tools, and the techniques it takes to have a great finished product. We're all taped up, and I've got the paper down to protect the floors as I begin to paint the trim. So what I'm going to be using is a high adhesion primer. And this one you can see has got some miles on it. It's a little hard to read here, but it's Stix, S-T-I-X. And it is a great interior-exterior primer for when you're trying to go over surfaces that you might be concerned about the adhesion. And again, we're going over stained wood that has a lacquer finish on it. So I just want to make sure that I get a good bond between the prime coat and the wood itself to adhere to that lacquer. So I wiped everything down. Floor's nice and clean, paper's down, everything's ready to go. So I've got the Stix, I've got a 4-inch little mini roller, which I'm going to roll on, and I've got a velour cover for it. So it minimizes the amount of texture, because I want to get it as smooth, I want to lay it down as smooth as I can. So I've got a velour cover and a nice brush that I'm going to roll it on, and then just in the wet paint, just drag the brush across to try to smooth out any of the roller marks or any of the roller lift that you may see. So I've got my trusty little Pelican here. I love this little guy. Makes it nice and easy and neat when you're working in small spaces. It works great with this roller and the brush. So I'm excited to get going. Hey everybody. So we're into the thick of it now. I've just gone through and sanded down the prime coat. Let it dry, everything's nice and dry. I sanded it down, and now I'm going to go through and do some caulking. So what you want to do is everywhere where you have wood meeting another surface, you're going to want to caulk that. So I've got good painter's caulk here, which I'm going to go through, and I'll caulk at every one of the spots where each piece of wood touches another piece of wood. So you don't have any of those black lines anywhere. So go back over it, make sure that all the nail holes are filled, everything is caulked in. I've just finished sanding everything, so it's nice and smooth, kind of feels not quite like a car, but it's getting there. And this is kind of what a primer coat looks like. You don't really have a lot of coverage, and that's okay. But what you do is you've got a great bond to the original surface. So that's where we are now. We're really getting into it. I'm ready to go. So the paint that I'm using right here is it's a Advance is what it's called, but there are many products out there that are great for this type of application to paint pre-finished wood. This paint has a special formula that really lays down nice, so that's why the reason I like to use it. But it's a paint that I've had for a little while. I painted some other areas a couple of years ago, and one thing that you always want to do when you are painting, especially if you're using something that's been around a little while, is you really want to strain the paint. So I've got my little Pelican, which is my little handheld pail here. Another little great trick is to get something with liners in it. It's super handy, they're disposable, and it really helps to keep things clean. And it also allows you to change between colors and a couple of different things. So they're super handy. Paint strainers, these are the things that you need to use. So this goes over top of here really nice. You pour the paint into the strainer. You don't want to overfill your Pelican. You don't want to have too much, but you want to have enough to be able to do what you need to be doing. Kind of clean that little rim out there. That helps to make sure the lid seals nice back on there if you kind of clean that out. Set that aside. Then what you do, it's kind of like, so here's what you do. You just allow the paint to just funnel through and strain out. And that way what you're doing is you're getting all the little chunks, the little nubs, you want to get all that stuff out of the paint, because when you're going to apply it, you don't want to be applying that stuff onto the wood or the walls. This is a great idea. Really recommend that you do this. These strainers, you get them at the paint store, and you can get them in different sizes. If you're working with larger buckets, you can get them in 5-gallon size. You can get them in smaller gallon size, quart size like this. But it's something that I really recommend, and it really helps to make sure that you're going to get a really great finish at the end of the day. So always have a nice big trash bag close by when you're doing this type of stuff. Helps everything stay nice and clean. All right. So I've got my velour roller again. I cleaned it off from the primer. Still, it's good to go. Still can use it. And I cleaned the same brush that I used for the primer. I'm going to reuse that as well. So keeping my equipment clean, trying to keep myself clean. A good painter is always more paint on the walls than on himself. So trying to stay clean. We're looking good. I'm excited. We've got color coat going on the trim now. So stay tuned. We'll show you more later.